guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a review and first impressions of the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless Foundation. It is for normal to oily skin. I have very combo skin right now. I usually have super dry skin, but ever since I think it was May up until now, it's like October-ish, I have a very oily T-zone and just like decent normal cheeks. Nothing's going on that's too dry over here, but I have been getting very oily, so I'm hoping that this foundation will do the trick and keep me pretty matte. I've heard amazing things about this foundation, so I've been dying to give it a try. The shade that I picked up is shade 230 Natural Buff. It reminds me a lot of the Maybelline Dream Liquid Mousse Foundation in the shade Medium 1. They are very similar, at least in person they are. So I'm quickly just going to read the claims of the foundation and then I'm going to go ahead and start applying it. But it says that it is best for normal to oily skin, it erases pores, and it has a mattifying shine. So hopefully it will blur out my pores and make sure that my skin stays matte all day, and I'm hoping that it is a pretty good color match. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and go in with the foundation. I'm just going to shake it up a little bit first. The only thing that I don't really like about the packaging on this, first of all, is that it's a pour. There isn't a pump on it, which gets very messy in my opinion. I guess you can kind of take the brush and dab some out every second, but I feel like just putting it on my hand is the fastest and easiest way to go, but it's kind of gross. I'm just gonna start applying this foundation, and I'm using it with a Sigma angled Kabuki F84 brush. And I'm just gonna start patting that into my skin. So the sun just came out, so I'm assuming that the lighting is about to change in this video. So this is one half of my face done, and the color in person is looking a little bit dark and orange for me right now. Okay, so this shade is definitely a little bit too dark and too orange for me right now, but I feel like when I am a little bit more tan, then this shade would be good for me because I do have a very like neutral, almost warm undertone, so I feel like this would look good. I don't think that it looks particularly matte in my opinion. I think that it has a very natural finish to the skin. It's more of like a demi-matte. I wouldn't say that it's like a complete flat matte. I keep on kind of pushing it in to see if it's going to dry, but you guys can kind of see that it has a little bit of a glow still to the skin. It did a pretty good job of kind of blurring out my pores. They're definitely less visible than they were before I applied the foundation, but they're not completely invisible. I would probably still use a pore filling primer before I use this foundation. So I think that's all I have to say about it right now. I'm going to continue and finish the rest of my makeup, and then I will check back in with you. Okay, so I just finished the rest of my makeup, and I don't know how much I love how this foundation is looking on my skin. It's making my skin look very dry. I don't mind the look of matte skin, but I don't like that it's making my skin look like I'm just having a dry skin day rather than, oh, I'm wearing a matte foundation. There is a difference. If you guys have dry skin, then you know what I'm talking about. I didn't have a problem with putting any other products on top of the foundation. There was no skipping, there was no weirdness, everything blended out just fine. I fixed the color match problem by adding a bit of a lighter concealer than I normally would to highlight today, so it kind of balanced out the color. So I read online also that this foundation is supposed to improve the texture of your skin, and I do have a texture problem just right here in the middle of my forehead. I have like bumps that are kind of underneath my skin that are not pimples. I don't know really how to explain it, but a lot of the time when I wear a matte foundation or just a foundation in general, it can accentuate those bumps, which is what's happening with this foundation. Instead of it kind of making them look a little bit more invisible, they are a little bit more noticeable. So this is just a close-up of the foundation. You guys can see what I'm talking about just in this area right here. It's making these bumps look a little bit more noticeable, and my skin is just looking a little bit dry. You guys can see over here. So that's why I added a lot of highlight to make my skin look a little bit less dry today. But other than that, I will check back in with you guys in a little bit and let you know what's happening. Hey guys, so I'm just checking in. It is now 4:30 in the afternoon, and I applied this foundation at 11, so it's been around 5 hours, give or take. So surprisingly, the foundation looks almost exactly the same as it did from when I applied it. It didn't like get oily and weird in any areas. The only thing that I'm noticing is a little bit of melting around my nose area, which is the area of my face that gets the most oily. But usually if I put on a very good matte foundation, that doesn't really tend to happen unless I wear sunglasses and I'm a little bit warmer, if it's a warmer day, which it wasn't so hot today, but it wasn't particularly cool, and I was wearing sunglasses, so I do have a bit of a foundation sunglasses line going on over there, and my foundation has kind of melted off right in this area around my nose, right there, but everywhere else has stayed put and stayed perfect all over the rest of my face. I will say that it doesn't look totally completely matte, but it didn't look like that ever, in my opinion, from when I applied the foundation until now. When I first applied the foundation, it kind of gave more of a demi-matte finish, not a full matte. So you guys can see what I'm talking around my nose area. It's completely melted off in this area right here, and a little bit around my nose it has started to melt off and become a little bit shiny. There isn't any claim on the foundation bottle saying that it's supposed to last any certain amount of hours, so I'm just testing it out for me personally and seeing what it's going to do as the day goes on. But so far so good. I'm just a little bit annoyed that it's starting to melt off around my nose area. So I'm actually gonna see what happens when I try and touch up this area with a powder. I'm just using my Rimmel Stay Matte powder, and I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of buff that around my nose area and see what happens. So retouching up with powder seemed to help a lot. It is much more matte in this center area of my face. It is no longer shiny. The only thing is that there is a little bit of like patches of foundation that have melted and kind of settled into fine lines, into little areas. But it definitely doesn't look bad. If you were gonna just touch up on the go and you just had a powder compact, I think that it would look fine. Hey guys, so this is the final check-in of the day. It is almost 8:15 in the evening, and I have been wearing this foundation now since 11 a.m., so that's a lot of hours. And I actually really like how it held up throughout the day. The only area, like I said in my last check-in, that it started to melt off a little bit was around my nose, but I have a very oily nose area, and I was kind of expecting that. That's why I normally use another primer specifically on my nose no matter what foundation that I'm using, so I'm not so bothered by that. I really like how it stayed put around the rest of my face, and the rest of my makeup that I put on top of it hasn't faded either, which I really like. I tend to kind of go like this with my hand a lot throughout the day, and I kind of touch my face, and I like that none of the foundation has rubbed off, so that has been really great as well. So this is a close-up of my skin after wearing the foundation for 9 hours. It is now 8:15. So you can see that it still stayed put and it looks great all on my cheek area. It's just around my nose that it's starting to get a little bit oily. So all in all, I think that I would give this foundation a nice big thumbs up, and I would totally wear it again. I think I'm going to test it out again tomorrow to see how I like it again, except for I'm going to put the Tarte Pore Filler Primer around my nose area to see if that helps with that little situation. It normally does. If you guys found this video helpful, then please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!